Clive Barker Podcast Audio Commentaries.
Thanks to your generous donations to our Kickstarter funding campaign,
Clive Barker Podcast presents Fundraiser 6, Bill Seeker.
That is JBD's shirt from the offer. Thank you, Gary.
Wow.
No problem.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
How have you got a photograph already of Simon as top hat already?
It's on IMDb.
That was good. Yeah, you're quick though, aren't you?
Damn straight. Yes, I am, sir.
Wow.
You're a super fan, Lori.
I've got my stuffed possum, which is twofold. One, it's almost the color of his wig, and the other, he seemed dead, but he wasn't. So possum. This is little Mr. Wainwright, and Mr. Wainwright is over there in his cage.
That's great. Yeah. That is wonderful. So I got my episode 3 lined up here on Amazon Prime. Ryan, do you have everything lined up?
Yep. It's I'm paused on the Cult Screenings UK logo.
Yeah, that's where I'm at, too.
Got it. Okay. So, yeah, I mean, we did this before for Mrs. Wiltshire, so you guys know how this goes. We'll have someone do the countdown. Who did the countdown last time?
I think Gary did.
Yeah, Laurie can do it.
Aw, thank you, Gary.
All right.
Yeah.
So before we do that, though, just to let everybody know, this is an audio commentary for Dark Ditties Part 3, the... My mind just blanked. Finders Keepers. Finders Keepers. Yeah.
Oh, my God. All right, we're there.
Yeah.
Yes, Finders Keepers. So it was directed by Adam Evans, and it was written by Adam Evans, Neil Morris, and Gary Smart, who we have here with us today. So, hi, Gary.
Hello. Thank you for having me again.
It's always a pleasure. And we also have Lori from Simon Bamford Fans.
Hello.
She's speaking to us live from the Simon Museum, which is behind her. I wish you guys could see that in the episode, but there's some costume props. Yeah. So as usual, we're watching this on Amazon Prime, and you guys should line up episode 3, Finders Keepers, and get it ready to play on Lori's countdown, and we will do the commentary track. So here we go.
Everybody ready?
Yeah.
Ready.
All right. 3, 2, 1.
Here we are. And I got my my captions on. So this was directed by Adam Evans. So what else has he directed for the Dark Ditties, Gary?
He's just directed literally yesterday when we finished shooting episode 4 of The Witching Hour.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so he's been our kind of line producer on all of our documentaries and also on The Offer and Mrs. Wiltshire as well. So he took over directing on this one.
Was this a park where this opening scene here?
No, these are the woods that surround Reesby Abbey, where we obviously shot the Offer and shot Witching Hour. We also shot parts of it here as well in their base dungeons. Yeah.
I love the way he runs.
There's kind of a contrast here between the music is almost comical.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it's part of the tune is if you go into the woods today, obviously what will you find?
Yeah.
So this is a kind of a balls to the wall opening here with Simon gasping right into the camera. It kind of tells you that this is going to be quite a ride.
And that opening shot in the woods had some kind of film grain in it.
It does, yeah. We kind of added a kind of a grindhouse kind of feel. You see, we've got pictures there of Michael Bishop and Gabby Sanderson from The Offer.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Oh, and there's investor number 1 and 2. That's you and Neil Morris, right?
Me and Neil, yeah.
Yeah.
And that's Siobhan Kilmartin playing Annie Wiltshire.
Yeah, and he even calls her Mrs. Wiltshire in the...
Yeah.
And for those who have been watching this in sequence, behind Mr. Benoit, you can see the clippings that you will find in the end of the first episode of The Offer.
Yeah, so this is basically meant to be set literally the night before the Offer game. So Mr. Wainwright here, played by Simon's taking the money to Benoit as part of the game.
Mm-hmm.
And it's also really neat how in the second episode, the things that tied the episodes together were really subtle, but here it's really starting to kind of pull forward and say, no, these are all really connected.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, Miss Wilshire had kind of little baby kind of slight Easter eggs, but this is kind of like full on. This is a prequel to The Offer.
So a quick bit of trivia here is, Lori, you have a little pet mouse and you call him Wainwright, right?
Yes, and I also have Jonathan Rat Davis.
There you go. That's wonderful. Wainwright. I think at one point they do describe Wainwright as being a rat. Yeah. I'm not sure if I remember correctly. Yeah.
You notice when Annie walked through a door, you get a little bit of the music from Mrs. Wilshire play, and then when she shows Mr. Benoit the cards in a second, you get the theme from The Offer as well. So our composer Sean's put those in for us, little nods to The Offer, Mrs. Wilshire.
Oh, there you go. And Annie Wilshire here, she's kind of like Benoit's right arm girl, I guess, because she even knows exactly what's going on. She asks him, "Is Mr. Wainwright going to come out the front door or the rear door?" Yeah. It's like, oh boy, here we go.
Yeah, she's not a nice person anymore.
But they don't need to be subtle because they're talking about cleaners and delivering flowers to the family and stuff.
Well, I thought it was kind of funny when he says thieving little POS and she says which one.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a good point.
So there's more than one, apparently.
I feel really bad for Wainwright because he just had to escape because Frank was trying to make a deal with him, right?
Yeah, obviously you'll see at the end of the episode, Frank isn't all what he's seen as regards to his loyalty to Mr. Benoit. So obviously Frank wants him dead. But whatever happened in the back of that car, we don't know. Obviously we have to assume what happened in the back of the car.
And just for people watching this, watch this first without the commentary, and then it's gonna, we're gonna be referring to stuff that happens later, and we don't want to.
I saw that Simon has a pin on his jacket. Is that am I seeing this right? Is that a pin of the lament configuration?
Yes, it is. It's Simon's. Yeah.
Wow, nice catch.
I missed that.
Yeah. So I just love, he's my favorite character. Frank is my favorite character in the entire episode, even though he's not a nice guy at all. But you guys got Mark Wingett to be in your movie. How did you get to cast him?
Mark is amazing. He is known for Quadrophenia, and he was in a series on ITV, which is a British TV channel, for about 20 years called The Bill, about the police kind of series. But we got Mark because originally, we cast a chap called Leslie Grantham, who was part of the big series in the UK called EastEnders. And Leslie accepted the role of Frank, and then unfortunately became very ill and subsequently passed away not long after. And last minute, 7 days before, we cast Frank, Mark Wingett as Frank. And the funny thing was, the original character of Frank was supposed to be kind of this sadistic, kind of like creepy, kind of like gangster, whereas Mark plays him as kind of this tough, kind of hard knock. So I think he completely changed the character Frank for us. He's like
the Iceman. You remember it was a serial killer called the Iceman. He used to whack people for the mob. Yeah, that's kind of the vibe I got from him. Really good character.
He's got a bit of a Ronnie Craig kind of look of him as well. He mentions the craze, but actually his look as well, with the glasses and the slick back hair and whatnot.
Yeah. I was looking for other interviews with him, and he looks completely different in the interviews. In this one, he truly, the glasses and the slick back hair give him a completely different look.
Oh, they do completely. I mean, when you see him in episode 4 as well, he plays George Sinclair, completely different look in that as well. He's an amazing. And obviously Stanley's back as well. Stanley played the Derek in episode 1 and Tony in episode 2. Now he's back as a new role as Darren Elliot, Frank's right-hand man, kind of a newbie into the gangster world.
It puts you on edge a little bit how disrespectful he is and how kind of clueless, that he is, that Frank could just shoot him at any time.
I think we wanted that. We wanted that contrast of the old style kind of gangster like Frank, and obviously this new kind of gangster wannabe a little bit. He's young and he knows it all. Whereas Frank's lived it. He's been on the streets of London with the Cray twins and gone up through the ranks. Whereas he's new, and obviously he's cocky.
Yeah, very turbulent, very emotional. Yeah.
Can't keep his mouth shut.
No.
Right.
Yeah.
Can't keep his dirty mouth shut.
Yeah, originally he was Benoit wasn't in it. It was another character called Mr. Kane. He was originally, and he was Mr. Kane's son. But obviously we got Benoit obviously in there then, and obviously had this as a new character.
So how cold was it when you guys were shooting this in the woods?
It wasn't that bad. This was in June, so it wasn't too bad.
And apparently there were a lot of bugs in the woods. I've heard stories.
There's a lot, yeah.
So you shot this in June and you premiered it in August in a UK festival, right?
Yeah. So it was quite a quick... actually, no, August. No, that was... Mr. Wilshire came out in August. This came out in October.
Oh, October. Okay, 2018. Mm-hmm.
There's a little bit of a rant here from Bruce Jones's character that it was kind of hard to understand. Maybe just being American.
Probably is, yeah. His accent.
Yeah, this part here where he's nicking I didn't understand what he was talking about.
Yeah, let's face it, he's stealing petrol, basically. Fuel.
Oh, okay.
A lot of people, basically what they're doing in the UK, in certain parts of the country, they make their own fuel, which is illegal to do. And obviously, he got caught with this guy nicking it. But, they mentioned later on about red diesel. It's illegal to have it and put it in tractors.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is that the diesel that's used for farming
it is,
tractors and stuff that's cheaper?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And people try and use it on cars and whatnot, but it's illegal to do so.
They use a special dye to tell it apart from the normal diesel, I think.
Yeah, red diesel,
I love these two brothers. Yeah, I love the Smiley brothers, and I have to ask something. Yeah. Is it going to become a tradition in the Dark Ditties to have Bruce Jones wear a hairpiece?
Yes, he wore a hairpiece in The Witching Hour, but he takes it off during The Witching Hour, so that you'll see him for the first time with his normal hair.
Oh, big reveal!
Big reveal. Yeah, he throws it at somebody's wig.
That wig is amazing.
We wanted it with kind of Tom Jones kind of look to it, so it's kind of the perm.
I've always said it was Bob Ross as played by the Antichrist.
Well, obviously, Ollie's back here. Ollie obviously was played Barnabas in episode 1, but he's just so funny. Just a comic actor. Both these comic timing just amazing.
Yeah, his physical language is also like the way he stands with like his gut out and his arms just hanging by the side and his head slightly tilted. Kind of makes him look a little more daft in certain scenes.
He does, yeah.
I don't know whether I should confess this or not, but everything that he says, I was thinking when I'm watching the episode. So apparently I'm a female Roy. So that's both wonderful and frightening at the same time.
It would be really hard to put up with his brother.
Yeah.
Barry.
I think Barry plays it a little bit. He plays that he's a bit senile and a bit kooky just to get his own way.
Yeah.
Well, and lazy. He always plays up his arthritis whenever he has to do anything.
Yeah.
But, a testament to Oliver Smith's acting is just how he can just switch it between this character and then Barnabas for the Offer. And I have to ask, was Barnabas named after Barnabas Collins, the vampire from Dark Shadows?
He was, yes.
Oh, there we go.
Was some of their dialogue between each other, was some of it ad-libbed or was it all written?
Between the Smileys?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's obviously we kind of we stick to the script pretty rigidly, really, but they do change some terms and whatnot to make it more natural.
Oh, okay.
It was a very heated scene. That was people were tired and people. I think some of the anger in that scene is actually real. I think between Ollie and Bruce.
Well, the one that really caught me was when he asked if he could have the sandwich, and I just couldn't stop laughing when I had to pause it when I saw that the first time.
But we get a little bit of the backstory now about who Benoit really is, what kind of person he is as well. Talking about obviously Harry the Hatchet and whatnot. We wanted to kind of build that kind of you see Benoit episode 1, but who actually is he? He's obviously into some serious stuff.
Yeah.
These moments where Darren and Frank talk about certain hit jobs that they were involved with is it's very Pulp Fiction-y. I mean, the whole thing, the whole structure of this episode reminded me a bit about Pulp Fiction in the sense that we have a MacGuffin, right? That's the briefcase. It's for most of the episode, we don't know what's in it, and it really is the driving engine of the story. And now, I looked up, usually I go to this site called TV Tropes, and I looked up this whole thing about the briefcase that's handcuffed to someone in a movie, and it's used in several movies, like, of course, Pulp Fiction. And I found out that usually in the movies they use a Zero Halliburton brand brushed aluminum model, and it's just the right size for $10,100 bills.
Oh.
So, yeah. And I guess in this one you use something similar.
Well, yeah, we just went on eBay.
Of course.
I got
It's
mine
made
on
to look
Amazon.
like that.
Yeah. Might have been Amazon, actually, yeah. Give it a plug.
Yeah.
This is so uncomfortable because when you know this is coming.
Yeah. Poor Mr. Wainwright.
As soon as he starts opening his eyes and he's telling him to load his gun, you're like, oh God.
Yeah.
And meanwhile, you see Simon Bamford being eaten alive by bugs.
Mm-hmm. And see, if you guys would have told me about that sooner, I would have come over there with a case of cortisone and a lot of motivation.
Yeah.
Oh, there he goes.
That was my exact reaction, and Simon just laughed his butt off.
Yeah.
Oh, because you guys watched it together.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's terrible. The shot of the scalp on the tree. Oh, my goodness. Horrible. So one of the first things I saw about this while you guys were shooting were you guys posted a picture of Simon holding his blown up head. Yes, in the woods. So that was fantastic. And you have that in your office right now, right, Gary?
I do. Yeah, it's sitting on to the right of me, Mr. Wainwright. I'm sure I know what Laurie would do with it if she had the chance.
Oh, honey, you have no idea.
And that was Stewart Conran's hand job, right?
Stewart again, amazing. And when you see episode 4, you'll see just how amazing he is really, regards to some of the death scenes in that episode. But yeah, Stewart's amazing. He really is.
Yep. This entire back and forward is just
just the
so
top
hilarious.
then. Okay, well.
Yeah.
I know.
Oh my God.
Just the top bit.
Yeah, what are you complaining about?
He's got a hat on. Oliver Smith has a hat that reminds me of like a Sherlock Holmes kind of outfit.
Yeah, we chose another hat for him. Adam wanted that one. We went to a charity shop, Adam grabbed it. He really wanted that kind of, he had a very distinct look, Adam did, about how he wanted Barry to look. He obviously is a Sherlock Holmes fan.
Of course. And so how much was the budget for this episode?
This
roughly?
one was 15,000, so that's probably about $20,000 US probably.
Okay.
Right.
Again, not what we do in 45 minutes. It's not a lot really, to be honest. It's a lot of goodwill, a lot of stress, 18-hour days.
How long did you guys take to do the photography?
This was 4.5 days, this one.
Yeah. I love the grading that you guys did with the color here. It really looks like it's middle of the night, about to start getting a little more light in the dawn. Yeah, it's good stuff.
This was graded by, obviously, Terence Wilkins, our cinematographer, and also then slightly, obviously, some bits were graded by Nicholas Helmsley as well.
Mm-hmm.
The forest really created kind of like when they were in the forest, kind of like a trapped feel too, for the character that I liked.
See, the Smiley's Den actually is part of Reesby Abbey, where we shot. It's the basements of Reesby Abbey.
And I think the gas station people said that they lived in a barn, right?
Yeah.
There's the owl on the mantelpiece next to the clock.
Mm-hmm.
I saw a number written on the wall, 108. Is that a reference to something, or just something that was on the wall?
I was asked the same by Laurie. Basically, in the Abbey, they number each room. That's all it is. There's no significance. We'll probably make something up about it one day.
I just figured because you guys have such an eye for detail in all this thing that, sometimes you just got to ask.
No, I was asking me the same. I was going, I was trying to make something up. I thought, I can't make it up. Yeah. That's actually Simon in the barrel. Some parts with Simon actually on set, in the barrel or on the table, and obviously parts with a puppet.
Mm-hmm. I mean, these two brothers, they seemed like they belonged in an episode of Sanford and Son. I don't know if you guys had that in the UK, but it was about...
It's called Steptoe and Son in the UK. It originally over here, and then obviously it was remade in the USA. So they are based on the Steptoe. It was a dad and I think the same movie, scrapyard dealers, dad and son.
That's
obviously,
right.
So we kind of based it on their kind of comedy, whereas one obviously was the kind of grumpy old git, and the other one was kind of resented being with him completely.
Yeah.
Hence why he's got his perm as well. We're trying to make it. He wants to be seen when he isn't. He's covered in poo and cow muck, but he has his hair permed every week.
Funny enough, Laura, you mentioned Bob Ross. Bob Ross also had to perm his hair every other week or so. That was not his real hairdo. Yeah.
Oh,
wow. He actually regretted starting out with a perm, and then he just thought it was such a part of his brand that he didn't want to give it up.
Wow.
Yeah.
Hey, if it works.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, this whole sound design here when they're sawing the wrist off, it's just so unsettling.
Well, and it's dragged out because it's hard and they're fighting with each other during the whole thing.
Yeah.
Now I have a question. The fat bastard line, is that a dig at Butterball?
That was one line was actually improvised by Bruce. I'm not sure if you've ever watched Power Rangers, but yeah, he improvised that and just said it. We kept it.
And
most
Chatter,
most of the script doesn't include swear words, but when Bruce gets hold of it, there's F this, F that, all added on. So.
Here's another great dialogue moment here, very Tarantino-esque, where they're just talking about, I like rom-coms,
Yeah. It's kind of also interesting how Frank, there's really not much left of him, as far as being a human being. And this other guy's new.
No, he's been behind.
Yeah, so he still wants to have a normal life, and
it's that generation thing again, isn't it? That he thinks he can just live the life obviously gangster and turn it off at night, whereas obviously Frank's lived it for years. Mm-hmm. And obviously working with Benoit means he's indebted to him as well.
Yeah, the only parts that he actually has any fun is when after a job he gets the money, he goes to Marbella or whatever, and it just lives it up a little bit and then comes back to the old grind.
Yeah.
Yeah. He really lays it on Darren here.
Yeah. And Ronnie Barker is a famous British comedian from the series called Porridge and Open All Hours. So Brits will know who Ronnie Barker is when he says, "Do you mean Ronnie?" And he goes, "Ronnie Cray, no, Ronnie Bleeding Barker." So it's a well-known British comedian from the 70s.
Yeah, and two Ronnies and
two Ronnies, yeah.
Now, see, this scene kind of solidified a red herring for me for most of the episode. I was sitting here thinking that Darren was undercover or something, and this scene where he's asking who, I was like, is he really a cop?
I think he's got his suspicions about Frank. I think that's what it is. Obviously, something happened in the back of that car with Wainwright and Frank. He was obviously driving, Darren was. So, they were meant to take him back to Benoit and something happened. So I think he's suspicious. Later on in the episode, when he's in the Smiley's den and he asks about, obviously, is that Wainwright's body, you'll see he gives Frank kind of a weird look. So obviously Frank's not helping himself to a degree.
Mm-hmm. I had this in my notes as well. I had that in that scene. I thought at some point that Darren was going to be wearing a wire, like he would be some sort of undercover agent or something.
Really?
Well, and I think also Darren knows that nothing good is going to happen to him if Frank gets away with stealing the case. He'll probably just shoot him.
And obviously, he thinks if he can bring Frank down, obviously he'll be in Benoit's favour then as well. Because obviously, Frank and Benoit assumes that Frank is loyal.
Oh, this is uncomfortable to watch. Oh, God.
Again, such great, prosthetic work there. It's amazing.
Yeah.
Oh, and then he stuffs it in the bread box because company's coming over.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
The people who gave us this, let us use this gas station were an amazing couple. And he really is something like from the 1950s.
Yeah, and they got the shirts with the fancy patterns on it and all that.
Yeah.
So are these the characters that are listed as Corin and Ethan?
Yes, this is Ethan with the hat on and the glasses.
Right.
Ethan McKinley, and then obviously Corin pops in a second. These two got bigger roles in episode 4.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, Ethan's got quite a major role in episode 4.
You find specimens.
Originally, myself and Neil were going to play these two, but we just gave up in the end. We thought we can't do it.
Yeah.
I would like to see that.
No, you wouldn't.
For a moment, I just was a little confused in regards to what time it was, but it's probably the evening, right? So the store is still open.
Yeah. Well, stores in the UK, like gas stations, again, I think like you, they'll open till 24 hours. And
right.
a small town like this is where it would have done. They'll be open all night, and that's why I think he said he's waiting for Derek now. Is that Derek Cartwright? Is it Derek? Is another Derek maybe?
Right.
I love those shirts.
They didn't fit either. So if you look how tight they are on the two of them.
Yes, I am. I am looking.
And it's another scene where Frank can just play it differently and then be just show us how much of a chameleon he can be in the situation. Yeah.
But he's kind of barely holding his rage in.
Yeah.
I mean, it really spills out, and it doesn't seem, I don't know, by the time he's grabbing the guy by the neck and threatening to shoot him and stuff, it's kind of, you're probably not a cop.
Yeah.
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 I don't know, British police. You never know.
So here he says, "Listen, you iron." Is that the correct said? Because sometimes okay.
It means iron hoof, which means poof, puff.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's Cockney slang?
Slang, yeah. Iron hoof, puff.
I learned so many different idiomatic expressions from a British slang when I watch these episodes. It's amazing. Like telling porkies, now I know that's telling a fib, telling a lie.
Yeah.
And that's part of the charm of the Dark Ditties as well, is that you guys celebrate, a kind of a British style and of filmmaking.
And Neil's an English specialist as well, Neil. He teaches English, so obviously, his forte is language, so he likes to put it in there as well. Right.
I love that cocky look that Stan Rawlings does over there when he lets him go, and you see him going swaying a little bit his shoulders, that was fun.
Yeah.
Join, yeah, that's the thing.
I love it when he says he's got a gun, a big one.
Yeah, and the last beat in the scene is just so funny. It's when he says, "That's kind of gay, Frank." It's like, how do you mean?
Well, yeah, when we saw this for the first time, I thought he was going to get shot for that.
Oh, you mean Darren? Yeah. It's like, I just want to make myself clear.
Yeah.
But very effective. I really enjoy this scene, the way it's written, and the way that Frank is such a manipulator, and he just intimidates all.
Yeah, he's a bully. That's what he is.
And then you watch an interview with him, and he's the kindest, like nicest person you've ever seen.
Oh, he was amazing, Mark. I mean, he was scary on set because he was kind of meddling a little bit as Frank, but he's just a sweet, sweet guy.
And he only had about a week to prepare for this, right?
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, a talking suitcase.
and then Bruce looks at Oliver like, this guy.
Yeah, it's like we already talked about this. It's a briefcase, not a suitcase.
Yeah.
And he has to explain to him like 3 times who Larry is.
Yeah.
Even though they're all friends.
Yeah.
It's the pain in the ass, isn't he, Barry?
That's a great shot right there. Coming down the highway, the lights, I like that.
And I've been in places like where they live. I used to go to a lot of flea markets and stuff, and sometimes you meet some people, and then you go to certain properties, and you're like, oh, you got some old stuff here that you want to sell, and it's kind of like that. It's like usually it's an old barn or an old room full of junk, and then in the middle you have like some lamp with like a sculpture, just like the one they have in the background, or then they have some like old plates on the wall, and so that looks just like a place where 2 guys like, you know, and the other guy would live.
This is the introduction of Larry the Latch.
Yeah.
I like this character.
Cockney Larry.
I love how he's like, who is it? Like, who else is coming to your house in the middle of the night?
Yeah.
You just called him.
And his wardrobe is just amazing. He just looks totally the part.
Yeah.
Oh, he's great, Neil Cole. We found Neil, actually. We were doing a screening of The Offer in London, and he was in the audience because he had a film showing there as well. And Neil Morris, got a bit tipsy and offered him the role of Larry without telling me. And the next morning, I got an email from Neil Cole saying, oh, by the way, I'm in episode 3. I was like, are you? And then Neil was like, sorry. But it worked out brilliant. Neil was he's a scene stealer, really is, Neil Cole.
Oh, yeah.
Larry.
Yeah, and you really, really pull for him, and it's kind of sad.
Yeah. And again, when you see him
I really wanted him to be able to walk out the door.
It's a shame, yeah, but I think anyone's going to walk away from Frank, are they? That's the problem.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I tell you, I at this point, I didn't think the 2 brothers were going to make it out of this episode at all.
No,
Yeah. At least one.
It was amazing that they took the time to tie them up, because it's like they had no value at all to Frank.
Yeah.
At least Larry knows how to open the briefcase.
Mm-hmm.
And when you see Neil Cole in episode 4, it's completely different. I mean, again, it's a scene stealing as a character he plays. So different to Larry. It's unbelievable. It really shocked us.
And we've been seeing the Instagram updates of on set for the Witching Hour, and they've been pretty amazing. You got that Crane. Is that the name of the?
Crane's the villain, behind it all.
Yeah, the villain, and with that amazing makeup, and you know,
that was really creepy looking.
Yeah, looking forward to
nasty.
It's going to be a good one. We've got Ian Gallagher as well in it from Game of Thrones.
When will that be? When do you think that'll make it to Amazon Prime?
Well, we've got one more thing to shoot, which is in 2 weeks' time, and then I'm hoping it'll be done by the summer, really, if not before.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
Oh yeah, this moment is where everything goes to hell.
Yeah.
So you got some paintings in the back of these like gentlemen with like these fancy colors and stuff. Are those also part of the Abbey, or was that something that has like someone digitally manipulated in the back there?
Yeah, the guy on the left is Stuart Conran, and the chap on the right is Adam Evans.
Oh my God. I love that stuff.
You should see the one Gary has of himself. It's actually very impressive.
Yeah, you'll see more in episode 4, my one. Yeah, but Stuart Conran has that up in his house on the wall.
Nice.
This one, I think Darren gives a look to Frank now when Frank says about, obviously, I suppose saves me a job.
Yeah.
It's kind of, it's something's not right.
Right. So here I thought that at this point, when he's going to say open the case, and we realize that Frank is actually thinking about stealing from Mr. Benoit.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's completely the where the story kind of flips, and you're like, oh, so yeah, like this guy is telling all these stories about what happens to traitors and double crossers, but he's actually looking out for himself as well.
I think he's had enough. He wants to just get out of it now. I imagine working for Benoit, you probably don't retire, do you, with Benoit?
Right.
You probably end up getting, obviously, axed. So he's probably getting a bit old for it and wants to go.
Benoit seems like a guy who likes to tie up loose ends.
Well, yeah, you see in episode 4, there's a newspaper article on the wall in one of the scenes, and you see what actually happens to Frank after the ditch.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So.
Because they didn't bury him, right? They just didn't even put the dirt on him.
Yeah, so there's a little kind of spoiler in episode 4. He got out of the ditch, basically.
Does episode 4 tell us what was in the case?
No.
Can you tell us?
Well,
I think it's a shitload of money, to be honest. But it was documents of Benoit's, obviously stuff about the offer. He didn't want people obviously knowing, that case is valuable for him. If that comes out, obviously his whole operation regards to the offer game and Crane's cult obviously comes crumbling down around him. And obviously there's a higher force behind all of this.
Oh, here's one of the funniest jokes in the whole thing. Never trust the Scouser. And he's like, yeah. Gosh, Barry, I have to keep telling you. They call me Cockney Larry.
Originally, he's supposed to be Canadian.
Oh,
and
okay.
He's going to say, I'm Canadian, and he says, call him a bloody Yank, and he says, I'm Canadian. He says, same thing, obviously as a homage.
Just like the offer.
Yeah, but it was like, there's so many links already in there. We'll keep him as Cockney Larry.
I think this was a better choice because this is so funny.
I think saying doubly entendre needs to be a thing.
Yeah.
I'm surprised he knows that expression.
Yeah, right.
He should have been pointing his gun at Frank. That was his mistake.
Exactly, yeah. You kind of feel sorry for Darren now. He's like, poor kid,
Yeah. But he really brings attention to the scene.
Yeah.
Yeah. His arrogance of thinking he's hard with a gun, just his downfall as well.
Yeah.
He could just pop Frank straight away.
He's so much in the moment, he doesn't even notice that Frank is getting his gun out.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
I love Barry's expression.
Yeah, I know.
Oblivious to really what's going on.
Poor Larry the Latch is like, what have I gotten myself into?
Yeah.
You got us into a real mess, Roy.
One strong point of Bruce were his expressions. Even when some actors will stand still in scenes, Bruce is always doing something. He's watching the other actors. He's reacting to them.
Yeah.
He doesn't wait for his cue and just do it. He's always doing something in the scene.
Yeah. Or even if it's just looking side to side and taking in the room, just responding to it with his emotions. Yeah. Oh my God, I want to shoot that guy so much. And of course, Larry's doing the best he can to open that suitcase.
Yeah.
And at this point, it really makes you wonder, what's in the suitcase? What's in the suitcase?
Yeah.
And then you guys go ahead and you subvert our expectations.
You're calling it a suitcase now.
Yeah. Briefcase.
Right. Briefcase. Okay, so English is a second language to me. So what is the difference between a suitcase and a briefcase? Do you put papers in a briefcase and clothes in a suitcase?
Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah, briefcase.
And a suitcase you can hold in.
There you go.
Bigger for vacations, suitcase.
So when Frank goes to Marbella, he takes a suitcase.
Take leopard skin suitcase.
Leopard skin thongs inside.
Yeah.
Sandwich.
Oh, yeah.
And then he meets up with Bruce Jones in Barbados.
I don't suppose.
The sandwich. So what I kind of pieced together from the story at the beginning that we don't get to see is that Frank was already planning this hit on Wainwright.
Yeah, I think
to retire.
Yeah, something happened back in the car, and obviously I think Wainwright was involved, and I think Wainwright obviously crapped himself and obviously realised obviously Benoit would do, and obviously tried to stop it, and obviously that's why he threw him out of the car to try and kill him, basically. But obviously he didn't die when he fell out of the car, probably going 60 miles an hour.
Right.
Because there's no way anybody would let him live if he was part of that deal.
No. He's dead either way, really. That's probably, it's either Frank going to kill him or Benoit.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, Benoit trusts Frank too much.
Oh, this beat where Frank says, "Good boy," then he looks away, and then he looks back, and you know what's going to happen when he does that.
Yeah.
You do really feel sorry for Larry. Just, wrong place.
This part about he owed him 50 quid. Oh my God.
Yeah.
Yeah, so here we're going to see, Ryan, what's inside the secret compartment.
Yeah. Yeah, you can kind of see some papers, I think.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think you can see some £50 notes. £50 notes are red in the UK. You get a quick glimpse of them.
Okay.
Brad
Bin.
It's just the confused face that he does, and then the half smile, like, oh yeah, the bread bin. He doesn't even realize what he's done. It's like, what's the problem?
Yeah.
Did you take the loaf out first?
Yeah.
That's going to be the least of his problems. Yep. There we go. And at least Darren gets one last, gets to have his revenge here.
And it's a good shot, too. It looked like it hit him in the heart.
Yeah, right. Directly in the heart.
He hasn't got a heart, so he's okay.
Well, he's shot on the right side, not the left.
Well, Larry was, but I think Frank was shot on the left side.
Oh,
it's a
here we
crap
go.
shot, basically.
It looks like Larry got shot in the head.
Mm.
Give us a bloody hand.
Not Larry. I mean Darren got shot in the right side and Frank got shot in the left, I thought.
I can't. Yeah, I can't help but feel a little bad for Frank, even though he's been a complete asshole the entire thing.
Mm-hmm.
At this part, I was reminded of that movie Casino, where I forgot the name of the actor. That guy gets beat up with the.
Oh, Joe Pesci.
Oh, yeah.
Him
Where
and
he
his
gets
brother
beat up with.
Oh, that was so hard to watch.
Yeah, man, that was brutal.
Making him watch his own
I
brother
love
get
that picture,
beaten up
too.
with the bats and then buried alive.
Oh yeah, in the photo you've got obviously a young Benoit, the Craze, and obviously a young Mark Wingett as well. So he wasn't bullshitting after all. He was telling the truth about the Craze, where obviously.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, his blood stain on his shirt is on the left side.
Right.
You know, you really need to make a GIF of that. The little crossing yourself and then.
Yeah.
And then flipping him off. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because that's how they do it in England. For those who don't know, the two fingers up is the flipping off. And here's the aftermath.
That's Danny Stewart.
Playing Barnaby, the bastard Benoit, with the gimp mask.
Send them to the beast. And that laughter at the end, that's kind of like ominous. That's great. That's a great thing. So we're going to see him at the offer as, of course, the gimp. And so is there going to be an explanation of why the bastard Benoit ended up being given to the beast?
Yeah, Leslie Top explains basically in episode 4 that he was kind of like, he was special basically, running around the house half naked and whatnot, and and obviously, he was allowed to run around kind of being a bit nutty. So Benoit doesn't like him. Benoit hates him, because he's not obviously, he's not going to take over the business. And you kind of know that when he Wilshire's his lover, Benoit, that maybe she's the gimp's mom as well.
Ooh, okay, wow, that would make it even more ominous at the end there.
Yeah.
So amazing. Director of photography was Terrence Wilkins and Ben Halford. You had Stewart Conran actually be second unit director.
He is, yeah, Stewart. Yeah, I missed this one.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And of course, Stewart Conran with the special makeup. And of course, the great music. Yeah, for Sean Schaefer Hennessy. So he did the soundtrack for most of the Dark Ditties episodes.
All of them, yeah. 1, 2, and 3, and obviously now he's doing 4 as well. Yeah.
Ask about his music. Are y'all going to happen to release any of his music officially on?
I think so. I think once we start taking off, obviously, we're going to look at a book as well, obviously behind the scenes book and that kind of stuff. And we've actually got a documentary being filmed on us making episode 4. We had a chap called GURPS who was there filming the whole of obviously the making of it. That's going to come out as well. So you can meet obviously the crew and people like that and whatnot. So as we build up, I think we're going to do some kind of stuff, like a soundtrack and whatnot. Because he's an amazing artist, Sean. Absolutely amazing.
All the music for all of them.
Yeah. Amazing. So you guys are just wrapping up. Did you wrap up the filming for Witching Hour then?
The main shoot, yes. We just filmed obviously at Reesby, and we have 1 day in London on the 10th of March. That's all we've got to do.
Wonderful. Oh, here we go.
Yeah.
And
actually, you should put more stuff like that at the after the credits, because then Amazon doesn't kick you out of the credits.
Well, there's quite a big bit at the end of the credits of Witching Hour. There's like a 2-minute scene at the end of the Witching Hour.
I was just noticing that Amazon didn't say, okay, we're done, and cancel you out of the credits.
No, yeah, sometimes they do, don't they?
Yeah, and I'm wondering if it's because you had something important at the after the credits that they
I think so. Obviously, because you've obviously still got footage showing. Yeah, but I said in episode. So
Right. So I saw the end credit scene was the ditch where we saw the Smiley brothers throw Frank into, and the ditch has been closed, and then you hear the suitcase say, "Good morning, Mr. Benoit. Tracking device activated."
Yeah.
So I had a question about that. If there was a tracking device, why didn't Benoit give it to Frank so they could, catch him faster?
Ooh.
He probably doesn't even trust Frank to have it. He trusts Frank. I think Benoit's the kind of person, he'll trust you with certain stuff, but not everything really. He'll have obviously things hidden from even, his closest people. And as we know, does Frank know about Crane and Crane's involvement and all the stuff? Probably not. So, he's not kind of black and white. Old Benoit isn't.
So see, I had chalked it up to, he wanted to make him work for it.
Yeah, well,
What was
sorry,
the,
that as well.
What was the tracking device on? Was it the briefcase?
The briefcase, yeah.
Yeah. Seems like it would be a fail-safe mechanism in case someone tried to open or force open the suitcase or something. Or if it wasn't delivered in the appropriate amount of time, then it would probably start getting that activated. And, of course, at the end, we see here in the memory of Leslie Grantham, 1947-2018. So a lovely dedication there at the end of the episode.
Yeah. It was, I said we struck lucky, I think, with Mark anyway. It was kind of those moments when you lose an actor and you think, bugger, especially when they're ill as well. And then Mark came along, we found Mark, and just unbelievable in that episode.
Yeah, and Simon's been like a constant in all of these episodes. And is he going to be also in the Witching Hour? I think I've seen an image of his character. Yeah,
Simon plays Leslie Topper in episode 4. He's executive producer now, Simon. He's he's very much part of his family now. So
right. He was also a producer of this episode, right?
Yes, he was. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's looking great. I mean, I saw a picture of him with like a stubble and one cloudy eye, and it looks like he's playing some sort of caretaker.
He looks after Benoit Mansion, yeah.
Oh, I see. Well, I really enjoy this one. I think Adam Evans did a great job. You guys had an amazing script. And even though the script was clean, I think all the profanity put into it and the dialogue just really was just colloquial. It just belongs in that dialogue there. So,
yeah, it's sometimes. I mean, swearing is brilliant when it's in context. If it works, it works. We try not to put swearing for the sake of swearing. I've seen people write scripts before when suddenly it's F this, F that, it isn't natural. But when it's more natural, you don't mind then, because it works. You kind of, it doesn't sound kind of as bad. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, and that's what we allow the actors to do. I mean, Bruce's biggest problem on episode 4 was his character. He's very calm, quiet, doesn't swear, and he wasn't allowed to swear once. We had to tell him that no swearing because the character doesn't swear. That was difficult for Bruce, but he managed to do it. He was fine.
And I also enjoy the little detail that we get at the beginning where we hear that Mr. Benoit bet 10 million quid on the girl who actually wins the offer at the end. So
yeah.
Now I had a question about that too.
Yeah.
He said her name wrong. Is that just because he doesn't care?
Yeah. In episode 4, in a scene, someone says the Anderson girl, and then someone else goes, her name is Sanderson, and they say, well, no one ever found her, because people just don't. It's kind of so Ken made a mistake, to be honest, and we've kind of had to weave it into the next script that someone actually, says, "Oh, her name's not Anderson, it's Sanderson."
Oh,
so yeah, I doesn't give a shit. I don't think as well. Ken as well as Benoit.
Well, I'm certainly looking forward to the Witching Hour because you guys keep knocking them out of the park, and
it's going to be a completely different kind of episode. Episode 4, it just it feels so different. We've used a dolly camera on this one as well. It's very cinematic. This one is.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's going to be brilliant. I'm really looking forward to getting our teeth into the post-production now.
And I submitted last night when I watched this again to get to kind of.
I saw review. Yeah,
some notes.
You.
Yeah, I put a review in there. I didn't see if it got.
It has gone on. Yeah, it has. Yeah.
So I think everybody out there that watches this, do a review because I think that really helps.
Do. Yeah, it does. It makes a massive difference. Reviews do because everyone seems to love these, but. If you're watching it and you love it, just pull a review because it makes a big difference for Amazon then. And obviously, of people who are in the business who are interested in obviously series like this, if people are reviewing it, giving it positive reviews, it makes it more appealing for a distribution company to want to obviously get their hands on it. So please do. If you like it, just do a review. If you don't like it, don't do a review.
Does it also help the placement on the screen when you're going into the?
It does. It puts you up on the ranks as well. I think we mentioned before, we got one charming person who gave us a 1-star review because he had no audio on his TV. I hope now that's obviously been... And Amazon won't remove it for some reason. Will not remove it. But anyway, that's obviously now all the positive reviews, all the 5 stars, has pushed that kind of out a little bit, which is great.
Yeah. I really enjoy this. It's always great to have you here with us doing these commentary tracks because you add so much insight to it. Because of course, you wrote some of this as well, and so it's always so great to have you here. You always give us such cool insight and sneak peeks at what's going to come next, and I really cannot wait for the Witching Hour. And I hope when that comes out that we get the chance to have you with us again.
I'm sure Neil will do it next time as well. I think he's been away for a week shooting and. He's got 4 kids, and it wasn't. I think obviously having family time today, just one of the things. But he definitely wants to do it again. So, yeah, it'd be brilliant to do it.
Well, this has been really, really fun, and thanks to Laurie also for being with us. And you always pick up some details, and you always bring up stuff that misses sometimes. Like when you said that Benoit said the name of the girl wrong, I totally missed on that one. So
yeah, me too.
Yeah, little Miss Continuity Hawk here.
Yep. All right, guys, this was fun. I hope that the audience members out there have also enjoyed this episode. And like Ryan said, please write a review and put it up.
Sorry, were you going to say something?
Who, me? No, my dog's just barking.
Okay.
All right. Thanks a lot, Gary and Laurie, for being with us. This is really fun. And like I said, I really enjoy this. I think you guys have been doing, you guys have been making it even better every single episode that comes out. And the Witching Hour, when I saw that video on Instagram, I'm like really impressed. So it looks like you guys are having lots of fun and doing some really good work in the meantime.
Brilliant. And Laurie, I just took a snapshot of you to show Neil your room. So if you wonder
well, actually, I took better pictures and put them on Facebook.
Okay.
So
share them, please.
they're on my page. Oh, I had to tell you guys a funny story, and I actually was hoping Neil would be here because he'd get a kick out of this too. But Gary, you can tell him. All right, when Simon and I were in Atlanta, and we had a couple minutes alone, he's like, "Hey, you want to run the lines for the Witching Hour?" And I'm like, "Sure." So he pulls up the script on his phone, and I'm looking at it, and it just so happened to be the scene that I had just finished memorizing. So I was all stoked. Now, for the benefit of the podcast guys, without going into any spoiler territory, at the end of the scene, Simon's character leaves, and there are 2 characters left. And Simon leaves, and then there's like a pause, and then one of the 2 characters says this funny, dirty line. Mm-hmm. Well, we're saying the lines back and forth, and when we first started, I was just saying the words. I wasn't getting into it, but by the end, I was having fun. I was just emoting and doing all this crap. So we're going back and forth, and he gets to his last line, and so I paused, and then I said the funny, dirty line, and he turns around with this look of shock and horror on his face, and he's like, "What?" And I'm like, "That's the next line." And I said it again, and he goes, "Oh."
Job well done.
I know Gary knows what line that is.
Yeah.
You caught him off guard.
Came out of your mouth.
Yeah. It looks like you caught him off guard. He, I guess you were really saying it, and he thought you were actually saying it.
I said it good. He thought I was asking him a dirty question.
Right.
Either that or he was messing with you, because that's not out of the realm of possibility.
Did you want to see inside the briefcase? Because I have the briefcase here.
You have the briefcase?
My briefcase.
Oh, your briefcase.
Yes, my cosplay briefcase. I finally got the little keypad on it.
Nice.
So I open it up. There is, of course, a sandwich in it. And when you use your little fingerprint scanner, it opens up. And, of course, Benoit has his treasures.
Oh, get out of here. That's amazing.
That's my treasure. That's what's fun.
Oh, okay. I see it now.
Wow.
Brilliant. That is brilliant.
Simon
that is so cool.
Bathing suit from the 80s is my treasure.
Nice.
There you go, folks. You heard it here first.
All right.
Not for this time.
I'm really jealous of your Simon Museum back there, and it looks amazing. It really does. So do you also have the tie that he used as Wainwright?
Hang on just a second.
Oh.
Yeah, I get to answer that question.
It's not in the
frame. While you started now.
I don't have JBD's tie because that was just trashed. But I do have Mr. Wainwright's tie.
Oh, look at that.
It gets a separate frame from the shirt.
Yes, it's a different episode.
Oh, I thought the shirt was Mr. Wainwright's shirt.
No, that's JBD's shirt.
Oh, wow, it's really dirty.
Yes, it is.
Okay.
Lori, you're bringing up the bar for all of us to get to become better fans of the Dark Ditties, because right now you're probably the biggest fan in the world of Dark Ditties. You're giving us some homework to do.
Yep.
Oh yeah, it's going to be a lot of work.
Yeah.
Because it goes all the way around.
Oh,
That is amazing.
But I need to clean my room, so I'm not going to show you anymore.
You're good. You're good. Okay, guys. So thank you so much for being with us for this episode, and I hope you guys have a great weekend.
Yeah.
You too. Thank you.
This was fun.
See you later.
Bye, Gary.
All right.
Bye-bye.
And this podcast,
Yes.
having no beginning, will have no end. You can find the show notes for this episode and join the discussion over at www.clivebarkercast.com, where we have news, features, reviews, and links to all the ways you can connect with us. You can subscribe on Apple Podcasts and every other place you can find podcasts. Clive Barker Podcast, or BarkerCast, is an independent editorial, podcast, and news blog that is not affiliated with or under contract by Clive Barker or Seraphim Inc. This is a labor of love by the fans for the fans.
Thanks for listening.